Welcome to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, the daily talk show with the voice of Penn State football and men's basketball. You never know what special guest may stop on by any given day. Now here's the man of the hour, Mr. Steve Jones.
Is that a shirt from a cult?
The Rock.
So Paul Poslezney's here on Friday night, and who's like the fifth person in line with his bobblehead.
My bobblehead's rare air. They forgot to paint the 31 on the sleeves.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I saw that. I said to my brother, "Did yours have a 31 painted?" And he did. I'm like, oh, good.
That was
At least one of us has them.
That was a statement.
That's right. Might be.
You weren't worthy of having all the numbers on there. Yeah. Well, time now for 49 good San Francisco seconds.
Yeah. Stay healthy this off season. That's the biggest thing. Stay healthy.
Off season, you're in camp.
Yeah. Stay healthy prior to the regular season beginning. And obviously, you have one of the easiest schedules in football. Take advantage of it.
Well, so what happens when you have a lousy record the year before.
That's the beneficiary of it.
It's part of your plan.
That's right.
Let's be bad.
Tank, let the Eagles win the Super Bowl and do something the following year.
You know, there's a distinct possibility that Penn State will be facing Brock Purdy's brother in the opening game.
I heard that.
Mm-hmm. So
49ers could be playing on their home field in the Super Bowl. We'll see. That was a good joke, too. I thought that was a pretty good joke, too. That was a good one.
That's where the Super Bowl is this year?
I believe so. Yeah, Lehigh and then...
Levi Stadium?
Levi Stadium. Lehigh. Good Lord. The Eagles used to have camp at Lehigh. I missed it. It was a lot of fun when it was there. Yeah, Levi Stadium. And I actually think... I want to say Southern California is not, or Los Angeles isn't far away. It might be the following year.
It is the following year.
Yeah.
I do know that for a fact. Because it's too bad the Eagles weren't in the Super Bowl in Los Angeles last year, this past season. Because Dick Girardi said to me, he says, boy, if they were here, he says, maybe we could get tickets. I said, I know I can get tickets. I said, I got a guy. He says, really? I said, I have a guy. That's
awesome.
Oh, no. No, to be honest with you, he texted me last night. Literally.
That's awesome.
He texted me last night having dinner with he's already trying to set up dinner when I go up to Los Angeles for UCLA. That's if they let me go. All right, so
Super Bowl is one of those things.
Still hanging.
It's one of those things where it's, well, first of all, I would not want to see my team live at the Super Bowl. Couldn't do it.
No, for
couldn't do it.
Sakes,
they lose, forget about it. I'd be in trouble.
Okay, come on. Look.
Couldn't do it.
I do this for a living.
Yep.
Okay?
Oh, I could see Penn State. It's much easier at Penn State.
No.
And I grew up a diehard Penn State fan, obviously.
But I broadcast the Penn State games.
Mm-hmm. Okay? Yep.
That's my team.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I easily could go to them. I easily could see them. There's something about the 49ers.
Did I grow up as a Giants fan? Sure, the whole thing.
There's something about the Niners. If it was a free trip, yes.
I've been able to broadcast the greatest moments.
Absolutely.
And I've also had to broadcast some disappointments.
Disappointing moments, sure. Absolutely.
Gut-wrenching disappointments.
Yep.
Hey.
That is why there's one team I couldn't work for.
I'm just saying.
That is the that is the I agree with you. Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I wouldn't trade not being
No, you wouldn't trade.
You, of course, a coward in the fetal position in the hotel.
When it comes to the 49ers, that's absolutely right. I've been in that coward position three times now.
Oh, that's
after not losing.
That's because they're not good enough.
They're not good enough. You got that right. But yeah, the Super Bowl is one of those games where it's. Would I love to see it live one time? Absolutely. It feels like that one time, unless you're broadcasting the game, that one, if I'm not working the game in one way or another, but
I wouldn't be working the game. I'd just be there.
Exactly. As a fan, it's that thing. It's something you could do once, and after that, I don't know if I could do it again live.
I've never gone to a Stanley Cup game.
I've been to the NBA finals.
I've never gone to an NBA playoff.
Been to the finals. Been to the World Series.
I've been to one World Series game. Okay, it was 2004, the Red Sox with Schilling on the mound.
I should have gone to all 3 World Series Phillies games because the only game I went to, they won.
I think there's a correlation there.
Where Lance McCullers, I'm certain, was tipping off his pitches somehow because they teed off on him the entire game.
We could have, but
I've seen the Sixers lose the championship.
And I've never been to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I've never been to a Super Bowl. I've never even been to an NFL playoff.
I've covered 5 U.S. Open golf championships, a U.S. Women's Open. I've covered those things, but no.
Yep, not been. Yeah, been to the finals.
I mean, I would only go to a Super Bowl if it just happened.
If I had the chance to go,
if I had a chance to go, and it was where I was at the time. So, in other words, next year the schedule should be Penn State playing USC, UCLA out there. Okay. Now, does it coincide again with Super Bowl weekend? I don't know.
Yeah.
But if it did, I'd consider doing it. I consider making a call, asking my friend. I mean, do you get a couple tickets? Because I'd make sure Dick would go.
Yeah, it's the kind of experience I would go as a fan.
Because I've been
at
to
least
SoFi
once.
Stadium.
Yeah.
It's not like I haven't. I've been there.
Never been there.
No.
Now, the only place I've been to...
I saw your picture.
That's right. They banned me from there, Candlestick, and Levi's. You got to be kidding me.
I've been to Candlestick Park.
I've never been... I've never been to Candlestick.
Yeah, I've been
but,
there.
Never was at and won't have the chance. But I've... I could walk by the walk in the now parking lot, but yeah, the only place I've been to out there is Pasadena. I've been to the Rose Bowl.
Okay.
There's not much like it. I absolutely love the Rose Bowl.
SoFi, obviously the Coliseum.
Never been to the Coliseum.
The late Jack Murphy Stadium.
I've seen Jack Murphy Stadium. I've not been there.
I've been to AT&T Park.
I've never been out there at all. Never been to San Francisco.
Oh.
Yeah. Thought about it when I went to the Rose Bowl, but we didn't get there.
I did 2 games in the Shark Tank.
Nice.
I did 2 games in the Shark Tank. I've done 2 games in the Coliseum. Worked 2 games at the Coliseum. One is doing play-by-play. Worked a game at Jack Murphy. Obviously, I've announced 3 Rose Bowls.
I've flown over like Oakland and San Francisco. I remember flying over the old
Dodger Stadium.
I've seen it. Never been in it.
Never been to Dodger Stadium. I want to go to Dodger Stadium just to go, but I've never been there.
Been in the Staples Center. Well, whatever it's called now.
It's
crypto.com or whatever.
I mean, obviously I stayed at LA Live, so I've only seen crypto.com. I didn't go in.
Yeah. I've been to the Staples Center.
In fact, they did the pep rally outside the arena, and Jack and I spoke at that. So, always try to make our speeches quick and simple. Like they got a whole lineup of people.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
Hey, you want to know one thing I've never done? Never done. All these pep rallies I've done, speeches, the whole thing. You know what I've never done? I've never done the We Are chant. Never led it. Not one time. You want to know why?
The fans can lead it.
Well, no. When you're
the
doing
fans have the power.
When we'll be backstage, right, waiting, and we're usually later in the program.
Yeah.
So we'll be backstage waiting. Every single person that gets up there does
it. Yeah.
You're like,
it's true.
Forget it. I'm not going to do that. You already did it 250 times. Okay, it's like just say something. Just make it up as you go.
I remember when
I never plan anything out. Just make it up as you go. Keep it short.
That's the best thing to do when you're unscripted. It's better. Honest to goodness. And that's that.
But I've never one time ever done the We Are chant, like leading it, like
leading it
everybody,
in.
here we are. I've never done it. Right? Yeah. Because I have so many other people do it.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm not going to be the
1800th
person up here tonight to do it. So you guys have said it enough.
Michael Motti did let it in at least once that I could remember. I remember when James Franklin was introduced that year, they had, I can't remember what it was called. It was at the Jordan Center. It was during signing day when they broke down.
They brought LeVar.
Yeah, they brought LeVar.
That was his first time.
Yeah, yep. And Motti led it and yelled out. I remember he yelled out at Ric Flair, "Woo!" That's how I remembered it.
Oh.
Mark Brennan said, "Did you mean to do that?" And mean to do what?
Yeah, he didn't know he did it.
No.
But I've never once done it. No, not one time. I think a lot of people are shocked because I've been here.
Been there so long, yeah, absolutely.
Years.
Yep.
They're like, "You got to be kidding me!" I said, "Never have."
Never have.
Yeah, it's just because everybody else does it.
Everybody, exactly.
And I'm not up there to be. I'm not trying to be different. It's just you don't want to be the same either. It's like, okay, you guys just did the "We Are" chant with that guy. You just did the "We Are" chant with that guy. You just did the "We Are" chant with that woman. Okay. I just Jack and I will just get up here and go blah 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 blah. Hey. And have some fun with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Speeches of that's. We could give tips to broadcasters. That's when to prepare. Absolutely, prepare. But having said that, being unscripted sometimes is your finest moment. A lot of times, it really is.
Yeah. So hey. I think people would that would be one of those surprising facts that people would not know about me.
No, I didn't know it. I didn't know it at all.
No, I think people are.
Yeah, I've heard. Really? Yeah, over the years, I've heard many players lead it. I've heard Joe Pa's led it a couple times.
Sure.
Yeah,
he led
absolutely.
It, Now Jack has because has Jack done it? Because remember, Jack was introduced on the field.
Don't remember if Jack did or not.
He was on the field. And I think he was with Franco, so then maybe they did it because remember the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
doing that reach out. They started with Dan Deerdorf.
Yep.
And I remember talking to Dan about it and how cool it was. And then the Hall of Fame got a hold of me so they could help set up Jack's college campus Hall of Fame moment. So I remember talking to them about that. And I remember he had to leave the booth, obviously, to go down to the field.
Sure.
And Matt McGloin was our sideline analyst at the time. So Matt and I handled the game, until Jack got back. But, yeah. I can't remember if he led the "We Are" or not. But, yeah.
I remember Jack and Franco together. I'm trying to think of what Pitt game it was. It was the first one or second one here on the Keystone Classic. I want to say it was the first one. I remember the two of them were together for a short time there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've seen many lead that chant over the years, and obviously you've seen more than me. But yeah, I've seen a ton.
Every time you turn around, it was like, okay. After a while, the atmosphere is great. It's beyond words. In fact, a couple of the Spikes players were asking me about the SMU game and the atmosphere in the building. And I said it's the wildest I've ever seen for a day game at Beaver Stadium. I mean, look, everybody talks about, at noon it can be sleepy, it can be quiet. Not the SMU game. That game was at noon.
Man, that was a cold game, and that was cold, absolutely.
Cold at noon, and the atmosphere was like a night game.
Yeah, absolutely.
The atmosphere was like a night game. It was unbelievable. But after a while, like the cheers and what you're doing, like it kind of like blends together because you're working at the time. You're talking or you're listening. You know what I mean? So I don't. It's in front of you, but you're also involved in what you're doing at the time too. So yes, you hear it, but you don't hear it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the crowd. Well, you look at last year as a whole. I think Ohio State. Now that crowd, yes, it was a loss, and they remember that. But that atmosphere, that crowd was intense. That was a noon game. That crowd was as intense as I've seen prior to SMU.
So training camp gets underway for Penn State on Wednesday. Ironically, the week 0, I don't think we really mentioned this last week, but the week 0 teams, including the Ireland opponents. Who's Iowa State playing? Iowa State's playing who in Ireland? And it's a Big 12 game. Who the heck's Iowa State playing? Are they playing? They're not playing Arizona State, are they? Or Arizona?
They are playing Kansas State.
Kansas State. So Iowa State and Kansas State, as an example, started their training camp last week. This is actually now going into their second week of camp. Penn State will start its camp on Wednesday. So all the talking is now over with. It doesn't mean there'll be more talking, obviously. But, I mean, I'm talking without anything. We can all sit there and we can look at who the returning starters are and so forth. There are going to be rankings that are coming out. I think James Franklin has handled an offseason with great expectations tremendously.
Absolutely.
I think his instinct as to how to handle an offseason with great expectation, he has handled it. And this is, again, he's got a great feel for that. And he handled it, to me, just the right way. Just the right way. It's okay. I was on a bunch of shows, and I've been, I think there are going to be a couple more, but I've done a bunch of shows in the past 3 months, and I've said the same thing every time. I said, look, you want to be around a program that has great expectations. I said, you don't want to be around a program where hope is a strategy.
Absolutely.
Right? It's tougher to be around a program where hope is a strategy. You want to have great expectations. Now, you have to go out and one at a time fulfill it. And when I mean one at a time, win Wednesday's practice. Thursday, be better. Win Thursday's practice. People hate when I talk like this, but this is the reality of building a football team. You cannot beat Oregon or Ohio State on Thursday this week.
Correct. Yeah.
But you can win Thursday and make yourself better and put yourself in a better position to win these games. People will talk about Penn State's non-conference schedule. I don't care. Beat Nevada. When you're done with Nevada, beat Florida International. That's how a season plays out. Now, here's the next part. You have this team has a lot of players that are, let's face it, have proven to be outstanding players. Yet during the course of the year, if the season were to extend out the way people hope it will, last year it extended out 16 games. When you go through 16 games, there are going to be names that you're not quite familiar with today that are going to play a role in you getting to 16 games at some point. It may be for a game or two. It may be in a moment. But winning teams are built on quality depth. And that's how I felt about this team from day one, that you have to have the depth to survive seasons where there's, like last season, let's think about it. Remember back, it wasn't Shangri-La the entire time in terms of injuries. There was an attrition rate with last year's team. There were some good players unable to play last year. You would have loved to have had in the playoffs K.J. Winston.
Yeah, absolutely.
You would have loved to have had Alonzo Ford.
Yeah.
You would have, you start going through the guys like you would have loved to have had Andrew Rappelier.
Yeah.
Who began the year with them last year. I mean, there's a bunch of guys along the way that you did not have, that there was an attrition rate. Sometimes you go through a season and some of the really terrific teams sit there and go, I can't believe we got to this point. For the most part, we're relatively unscathed. That wasn't Penn State last year. Penn State was able to get where it was able to go because its stars were their stars and played, and they also had other people step up when other people went down with injuries. And Penn State had a bunch of injuries last year. Not a couple. They had a bunch.
Uh-huh.
Like, you got to be kidding me. I mean,
Yeah.
you lose one of the top safeties in the country 5 quarters into the season?
Yeah. And those 4 quarters that he played, you look at what he and
was
Reed
terrific.
did together. Oh, my goodness. Yeah,
terrific.
it was unbelievable. And that takes nothing away from Wheatley. Incredible season. And he's going to be great.
Right.
But
Wheatley-
to me, yeah, what Winston and Reed did in that West Virginia game,
It was
a sign,
it was
yeah.
tremendous. And that's
Absolutely.
why when he went down for the year, you know the first person I thought of? King Mack. Because King Mack, I felt, was going to be coming out of the spring a year and a half ago. I thought, well, this guy's going to be really important. And all of a sudden, then he transferred, and you're like, oh, man. You kind of spent time looking for that fourth safety. End up Day Lane ended up being one of those guys. Played really well. But, you lose players along the way. You lost Donko.
yeah.
You lost your right tackle
tackle.
in the Minnesota game. Rucci stepped up.
He did.
There's your depth, your quality depth. That makes all the difference in the world. Luke Reynolds stepped up when Andrew Rapplier went down for the year.
Yeah.
Stepped up, right? Yeah. I mean, Nicholas Singleton, as indestructible as he has seemed, got banged up last year, and there was a game he couldn't play. And guess what? Katron Allen stepped up.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Reynolds had probably one of the biggest plays of the year, if not the play. Obviously,
Sure,
it takes
yeah,
the big punt,
sure.
32 yards.
Yeah.
And that was, gutsy play call, gutsy play all around.
Ever tell you this story about that with Don Rulli? So
May have.
Rulli is the guy that is, he's the one that does the snap count. So, I mean, he's essentially quarterbacking that thing out there. They had called that fake punt, I believe, 5 other times, including a couple times in the Washington game. And it's his responsibility to look it over and say, go, no go. Well, the first 5 times, the way the alignment was, it was no-go. And going back to the Orange Bowl in 2006 with Florida State, the winning kick by Kevin Kelly was a second down play. And that was a fake was called because it was second down. It had a fake call. Gainer, Florida State changed its alignment. Gainer called it off, looked back at Kelly and told him we're kicking, and then kicked, they won the game. Okay. Well, this Rulli is the same thing. He's got the option, go, no go. Minnesota overloaded exactly where they needed it. So, go. Boom. First of all, Dzansky has to make a great angled snap.
Uh-huh.
Reynolds takes it, goes 34 yards, they get the first down. Rulli makes a great block in the play as well. And remember, I had to stay overnight because I was going to Daytona on Sunday to do the basketball games in Daytona Monday and Tuesday in the tournament, Thanksgiving week, then flying back with the basketball team. So I go back to the hotel while the football team goes back to State College. And Dom Rulli's dad is at the elevator. And I said, boy, I'll tell you got to give Dom a lot of credit. He made great call there, and he made a great block. And he looked at me, he says, Steve, I was in the restroom when it happened. I said, I don't feel bad. And the Immaculate Reception, I said, Jack was on the back bench, never saw the play. I said, so don't worry about it. I said, you're in the same boat with Jack Ham. You're fine. So. But, you don't get through the season like this.
No.
I mean, there may not be a season-ending injury for somebody. Now, we know Max Granville's already in that category. But there may not be a season-ending injury, but you may lose a guy for 1, 2 games, maybe 3 games. You're going to have to survive that. And it's not just, again, let's go back to basketball last year. Puff Johnson goes out after getting hurt 4 or 5 minutes into the Michigan State game with his hand injury. Well, Nick Kern stepped up. Okay, that's great. But who replaced Nick Curran? I always get a confused look when I mention this to fans. I say, well, Nick's now starting, so who's the guy replacing Nick off the bench? They didn't have enough depth to replace Nick's part off the bench. Nick can replace Puff, but you can't replace Nick's role off the bench. Who's doing it? Well, same thing when you lose a guy for a couple games. You lose a guy for a couple games, and it's not just the person that has to step up and take their place. Who's taking his place? That's the depth part.
Yeah.
Right? Where, because there's a domino. I was referred to it with the Spikes when they were the Cardinals affiliate, the Yadier Molina effect. He'd go on the IL, right? And suddenly your catcher is now up in Peoria because the Peoria catcher is now in Springfield. The Springfield guy is now at, what's the Cardinals AAA? Is it Memphis?
Memphis Redbirds, I think,
Memphis, right? And the Memphis catcher is now catching for the Cardinals. Then he comes off the IL, and everybody goes, boom, 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 back one step. Okay, well, that's what this is.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Somebody steps up, okay? Day Lane steps up.
Yeah.
Right? He's playing in the safety spot. There's no KJ Winston. You're trying to give him as many game reps as possible. But you also had to have somebody that step up for him. That's why Antoine Belgrave Shorter, who had never played safety before, got moved from corner to safety. They were trying to make sure they had their bases covered. So depth is not just the next guy up. Because the next guy up has to be backed up as well.
Yep, absolutely.
And that's where, there's a lot that enters into how deep a football team is. This is a deep football team. Now, we all know that going into training camp, who is going to be the number 2 quarterback? That will be a big question.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll watch the reps every day, see how it turns out. But it's a big question. That's why the early season games, if Penn State can play out the early season games and do well, James can handle whomever is in that second spot the way he handled Drew Aller in 2022. Drew got into 9 games in 2022. It at least gave him some game experience. And this is not thinking about next year. Okay?
No.
I'm thinking about this year.
You're thinking about the year and thinking about what could lie ahead.
Happened at Wisconsin. Sure. Well, Drew got banged up at Wisconsin. Yeah. Bo Pribula came off the bench, and Penn State was losing at halftime. Mm-hmm. Bo Pribula was 13-10, I think. And Bo came off the bench and did a great job. Team didn't really miss a beat. Yep. Because Bo had played so much, Bo knew how to play and what to do and how to play it. And Andy also had been able to also get accustomed to calling the game Bo's way because he'd been calling the game Bo's way when he had been in there. See, there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just as simple as the next guy up. Right? The next guy up brings his own strengths and weaknesses to the table that you have to figure in as to how you call a game. Maybe a play that would be called for him at right tackle is not a great play for him at right tackle, but there's a better play for the backup guy at right tackle than the starter. I mean, because everybody has their own strengths and weaknesses. Well, you had to call the game differently for Bo, right? Some of the same plays, but still to call some things differently than he would for Drew. Conversely, whomever it is, Jackson Smolik or Ethan Grunkemeyer, there's going to be a way that Andy's going to have to call the game for him. Now, he'll be able to do that based on practice. And the fact that it's the second year in the system for Grunkemeyer, it's the second year in the system, even though he did a lot of watching. He did practice toward the end of last season, Jackson Smolik. And, of course, they both went through the spring together. And for Drew, it's a major plus having the working relationship with Andy for a second consecutive year.
Sure.
For the entire offense, it's like that. We'll see how the transfers play out. Kyron Hudson, Trevor Pena, Devontae Ross, Special teams will be important. Penn State has excellent athletes. The kicking part, Ryan Barker did a great job with it last year. Gabe Wosu did a great job on kickoffs last year. Riley Thompson had a very good year punting the ball. And having Tyler Dzansky back as the snapper, you cannot put a price on that. You can't. And the fact that Riley's also back as the holder, that helps. The other elements, they have too many quality athletes to not be a good, really good kickoff return unit. They have too many great athletes not to be ineffective at times. Sometimes you have to fair catch it, okay? One of the big parts of punt returning is judgment. That's
100%.
a big part is judgment.
Absolutely.
Right? I got it, I'm going to go. Okay, You have to have a feel for it. Okay, I'm going to fair catch the thing. I'm going to make sure it does not hit the ground. Okay? Or look, hey, it's over my head. Let's get the touchback here. Right?
Yeah.
Well,
don't let it bounce and lose 20 yards.
Special teams were very good last year. I think they have the potential to be even better this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we talked about the depth on the football team. Well, when you have quality depth, which they do have, at least starting on this particular day, and starting on Wednesday, they've got depth. You can use that depth with your special teams. That's a way for certain guys to break into the lineup, for goodness sakes. But if you're going to navigate a long season, and you're hoping you are going to navigate a long season, there may be a game or two you're going to have to get by without somebody.
Yeah.
You're going to need somebody to step up for that somebody, and you're going to have somebody behind that person that will step up in their role. It's more than just who's the next guy up. You also have to have somebody step up in the role of the guy that had to step up. It's and that's what makes the better teams. I know last year, going into the Orange Bowl, and I did this for the Fiesta Bowl too. First of all, it was easy for the SMU game. I knew who they were going to play next. It was going to be Boise State. So I got ready. I did it a little bit ahead of time. Let's do some pre-work on Boise State. If I'm wasting my time, I'm wasting my time. But I had some time to do it. There was a hole in the basketball schedule, so I did it. Well, after they beat SMU, I knew Boise State was next. I knew it was going to be either Notre Dame or Georgia. Right? And so I prepared both of those. And then going into the Notre Dame game, I prepared Texas and Ohio State, which I never got to. That was the only one I wasted my time on. Okay? But I could see the depth all over these rosters of players because I ran, so I had I already, of course, I already knew the Ohio State roster. That was no issue. So, I understood that. But I really had never gone through a Texas roster before. Same as Penn State, a lot of depth. Never gone through a Georgia roster before. Well, except for the Gator Bowl way back, in 2015, I guess it was, right? But, the Kirby Smart Georgia roster. Yep. The depth is all over the lot there, just like Penn State. That's what the four had in common. Notre Dame, same thing. Notre Dame had a lot of depth. That's how you're able to navigate a season. Remember, Notre Dame lost its defensive tackle in the Indiana game. Mills. Was it Riley Mills?
Mills, yeah. And
right? And was considered to be their top interior, their top interior defensive lineman.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Right? And they had to get by without him.
Yeah.
Again, everybody has to navigate something to get there.
Absolutely.
And it's never as simple as, nobody got hurt, they're fine. No, everybody has to navigate something during the course of a season. And that's one of the keys. And look, you have to, and there's a couple things you have to do. You have to do enough work in the first 2 weeks of the season, hitting and so forth. But you also have to build in enough rest along the way. And then when you get to be about 10 days out, you taper down because you want to make sure you have your legs.
Absolutely.
And it's a fine line all the time. Joe was incredible with the fine line. James is incredible with the fine line.
Yep.
Right? It's a feel on the part of the coaching staff, right? But James is great with that fine line of understanding, okay, this is the day we back off a little bit. Okay? I don't need to have X, Y, and Z have contact. They already know how to play. Okay, guess what? X, Y, and Z need some contact today. So let's do it, But because you can't put guys in bubble wrap.
No, and I think
I always love that one. Oh, I don't know if you want to. Look,
they're going to get hit.
You can't bubble wrap.
Yeah, they're going to get hit. They have to be used to getting hit. And I think there's huge advantages. These last 2 seasons, the calendar has helped a ton because you have those 2 bye weeks, which has helped tremendously.
I think the placement of the 2 bye weeks
the placement this year especially is excellent. You have one in September. You have one pretty much midway through your season as you get into the month of November. So absolutely huge, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, depth absolutely is huge. And I'll use the 49ers as an example. Last year, they weren't as deep as they usually were. Look what happened. Injuries happened. They lost a lot of games. Did not have the depth to compete and keep up. So that is huge. And I think also the game has not changed in terms of the transfer portal, but I think it's not become, let's plug him in where we need him. It's not become that anymore. It's become when you look for the portal now, it becomes the question of, okay, does this guy make my team better?
Yeah.
Which I think is now what you're looking at.
And you have to have a culture.
Oh, there's no doubt. You have to have the culture that they fit.
Enough
Certainly,
to accept
100%
them in.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's coming in to take my spot.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Sometimes guys come in and guess what? You keep your spot.
Yeah.
You're better.
Yeah, makes you hungrier sometimes too. But absolutely, and that's what Penn State knew. You look at that Notre Dame game, take nothing away from the wideouts last year. Didn't play their best game in that game. Wideout didn't have a catch in that game. That's where you knew you had to get better, and they got better in the offseason, where you bring in guys in the transfer portal. And now you ask the question, are they better than they were last year? And that answer is, aside from judging by the Orange Bowl, that answer is yes. So, and there's no question where you look at these guys and you say it's become different in the sense that you used to plug in, okay, I need defensive end, let's hit the portal, plug him into my roster, let's see where he fits. Now it's become, plug him in, does he make my team better? And that's where I think that's a big part of where college football is not changed, but it's adapted and evolved in a big way with NIL. And that's where Penn State, I think, has been exceptional. They've been incredible with the portal, beyond a shadow of a doubt. They've had guys drafted very high that came from the portal. Now you get ready this year, you bring guys in from the portal once again, and you see if they make your team better. And I think that answer is yes. And that depth, as you said, is there. It's huge for it to be there because you don't necessarily always have. In the NFL, I think it's big to have a consistent starting 5 in your offensive line with depth. You don't necessarily have to have a consistent starting 5 in college football as long as you have that depth. I think if you have...
Most of the time, though, most teams kind of stick with the same
You stick with the same guys, but you have to have the ability to shuffle guys around if you need to.
Ohio State won the national championship last year.
That's where I'm going with it.
Let's go back to the injury part. Wow, they got through unscathed.
That's where I'm going with it. It was Ohio State.
Well, Simmons got hurt. They had to take Jackson from left guard to left tackle.
And moved him to left tackle. You had to shuffle him around.
First of all, they put the second guy out. Remember, it was Mihalchik?
Mihalchik, yep.
Who is, I think, now transferred to Indiana. He's now in Indiana. All right. Well, he stepped up there. Then he got hurt.
Yeah.
That's when they moved Jackson over there full time. Then they played a couple games at left guard. They didn't quite know what to do. And finally, Luke Montgomery took over. But again, that's part of the game. I think they lost their center too, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
He got hurt.
Yeah.
So Myers had to step up. It was, so it's,
that's where
they were able to get through it.
Yeah, and that's where I think again it goes to the depth part. There's no question about it. And you look at what this team has. This team is deep at a lot of positions right now because you have to be in college football. You have to be in football, period. Yeah, right. And you have to be in sports, really. And that's not.
Look, everybody has to. Everybody has to go through it. You know, baseball may not be the contact sport, but let's be honest. I mean, you've got guys going on the IL left and right. Aaron Judge just went on the IL again.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, he's at least out for 10 days.
And even guys that aren't injured by the time, even guys that aren't out, let me rephrase that, even guys that aren't out, when you get to week 10, 11 of the season, there are guys playing hurt.
Oh,
every team has guys that are playing hurt. There's no doubt.
There isn't a single team, okay? There isn't a single team in college football, pro football, or high school football in the month of November that is not where every single player is banged up or sore.
Absolutely.
And that's
where, look, it also factors in. You look at the last two national champions. We'll count Michigan for now. Whether that stays, who knows? I think that answer is no, but we'll count them for now. I think Michigan.
I think their national championship is going to stay, but that's.
Yeah, it's going to be iffy. I think but either way, leadership came back, said we're running it back. We're going to lead this team to what we believe we can do. Ohio State did the same thing last year. We're going to run it back. We're going to lead this team to what they can do. Now you look at this team, there's tangibles that are very similar right now as I look at this. I look at a team that has just about brought everybody back. Obviously, Abdul Carter was a no-brainer. You guys was going to be a top 5 pick in the draft.
You don't
exactly.
Him to the airport.
Exactly. You do not pass that chance up.
Should be in the pros.
You don't pass that chance up. You just don't. But other guys came back. They ran it back. Said, "Okay, we're going to lead this team. We're going to absolutely rely on you, and we're going to go as far as we can go. Rely on you, meaning the guys behind them, just as much as them." So I think it's you're in position right now where you're in a great spot. Where you go, that's up to you. But I think right now, as you look at this roster, I think it's, as you said, I think it's structured very well. The depth is there. The experience, which I think is huge and sometimes underrated, the leadership, that when you lose that leadership, it's huge because it shows on and off the field. All of it is there. How far they can go, we'll see.
Yeah, no question. We'll find out, and it's also what your opponent does too.
Absolutely, what your opponent does.
And remember, for each team that plays Penn State, okay, I don't care if it's Oregon, Ohio State, Nevada, Florida International, whatever. That's the biggest.
You're going to get their
in
best game.
Schedule.
100%.
Okay, that's the biggest game on their schedule. It's a big deal to them to play Penn State. Northwestern. It's going to be a huge deal. In other words, there's a chance to get a big notch on our belt. Right? And so you're going to have to take everybody's best shot.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's no question about it. And look, they're saying the same thing in Columbus right now. When you're the defending champion, you're getting everybody's best game. You're absolutely getting everybody's best game. Right. There's no question about it. So, there's no doubt. And that's why you take it on a game-by-game basis, just as James Franklin does, just as this team does. And that's where that 1-0 mentality comes in, and it plays a big role. Because, and I'll paraphrase, you've said it, James Franklin has said it, but I'm paraphrasing, like I said, not going word for word, but Nevada's a much bigger game when you lose it, too. That's where it's not a big game until you lose it, then boom.
Well,
every week
last year, Northern Illinois won at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
That meant Notre Dame had to be perfect the rest of the season to get to the national championship game. To their credit, they were perfect the rest of the, in terms of wins and losses, perfect the rest of the way. Because if they had lost one more game,
with not being in a conference, they weren't getting there.
They weren't going to get there. And this was more than, because if they got into the 2-loss pool, which is the opinion pool, that Northern Illinois thing would have X'd them out.
I agree. Yeah.
And that's, you can't stumble. I mean, what kept Alabama out? Okay, it's not a Northern Illinois game, but when they went to Oklahoma was not a
weren't
very
competitive
good team last year
in that game.
And Alabama, I mean,
didn't score a touchdown.
About the Minnesota game, that was none of the Minnesota game. I got back to the hotel room, and I'm watching the game in the hotel going, they don't even look the same.
No, didn't score a touchdown. They were down to lost 24-3. They weren't competitive in that game. They were competitive in that game. I think there's a different story. And Oklahoma wasn't good, but if they lose that game by 3, that's one thing. They lost that game by 21.
And that, to me, is like, you could talk about, well, look at our record and who we played. Yeah, I saw you played. You play Oklahoma. You got destroyed.
Absolutely.
I mean, like late in the year, were destroyed.
Yeah.
Okay?
Late in the year when you're fighting with 2 losses.
By a team that was 15th in the conference.
Yeah. 15th in the conference.
15th.
Yeah, they weren't good. Yeah. And in that spot at
they
that
only had
time.
2 conference wins.
Yeah.
That was the second one.
That was the second one, and they dominated the game. That was the other part of it. But in Alabama, in that spot, they've been there before. You've got to know with 2 losses that's going to be one you have to get, and you have to win that game. And obviously they didn't, but I think even in that spot, you're competitive in that spot. I think there's a chance you maybe get in there over SMU if you lose by 3 points, as opposed to 21.
Right.
But, that was, without question, the spot where you just come in there and it's, I dare say a Nick Saban-led team doesn't do that, but you never know. You really don't. That's the beauty part of why they play the game.
Well, he's not the head coach. Kalen DeBoer is the head coach.
DeBoer's the head coach. Absolutely.
You know what? Who, by the way, had coached in the national championship game the year before.
And beat Texas to get there.
Right. Look. But that's why they didn't get there. They lost a game. Everybody's sitting back going,
lost the game. They barely showed up. I don't want to say they barely showed up, where they didn't play well.
You got to take the brand name out of there, just on the quality of football team. Oklahoma was not a really good football team last year.
No, they weren't.
Especially at the quarterback spot.
No. Yeah, that was a disaster.
And Alabama got just taken apart by these people.
Yeah. Yeah, brand name is...
But remember, when Alabama went to Norman, what were they to Oklahoma?
Biggest game of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And played like it. So they had to take Oklahoma's best shot. Here was a shot on national TV for at least some semblance of redemption. We can at least get something out of this, and they did it. As the game went, you could see they played with more confidence.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And that's really...
But that's the nature of the season. That's why they ended up with 3 losses, and the last loss was a bad loss.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I don't care about the brand name. That's a bad loss.
No, the brand name is always going to factor, but it's going to have a much bigger factor early in the season.
The brand name figured in the game being prime time.
Being prime time, sure. And that's going to be the case when Michigan plays Oklahoma week 3? It's early in the season, week 3, I think, or somewhere around there. Yeah. This year.
To be honest with you, Ohio State's loss to Michigan was not a good loss.
No, it wasn't. They recovered well, though. No, there's never. No,
they recovered well, but Michigan was not a good football team.
No, they weren't. Year. No, they weren't. That was, but again, same point. That's Michigan's Super Bowl.
Right.
That's what they're playing for. Is that game?
I mean, to this day, I can't figure out what Chip Kelly was attempting to do with his offense.
No, I can't either. And that's in that spot. No, not at all. Ohio State's defense just absolutely gave them shot after shot after shot, and they couldn't take advantage of it.
Nope.
Jack Sawyer picks that pass off. That should have swung momentum to the point that Michigan doesn't see that ball again.
I know.
And they didn't.
And their field goal kicker had a bad day.
Yeah, sure.
But I'm trying to think. Penn State played Maryland that day.
Yeah, that home game.
That was what, the 3:30 game?
Yeah, Ohio State was the noon game.
So we were watching the game in the booth.
So were we.
And Jack and I are sitting there watching the game going, I said, let me ask you something. Offensively, what are they trying to do? And he looked at me and says, I have no idea.
No, I didn't have a clue either. And that's a big reason why.
Jeremiah Smith Carnell Tate,
and
right?
Emeka
And Emeka
Egbuka.
Egbuka.
Yeah.
And they have Graham,
One of the best running backs and running tandems in the country.
They have Graham and Grant as the defensive tackles. You have a revamped offensive line. And you're trying to run the ball over and over and over again. I'm like going, what are you doing?
Yeah. Made
Will
no
Johnson's
sense.
out. He's not playing.
Yeah, take a shot on him. Do what Michigan did to you in the first half.
We just sat there and we were totally baffled. And we're watching Ohio State defensively. Michigan can't move an inch.
No, after Ohio State, obviously, after the first 15, Michigan threw the ball all over them somehow in the first half, which I couldn't figure out.
But this is what college football is.
Absolutely.
College football has that magic to it that the NFL doesn't have. The NFL has the ratings, they've got the best players, the whole thing. But there's some magic about college football between atmospheres and rivalries and games and styles. There's more styles to deal and take care of, as opposed to the NFL pretty much is homogenized, right? Somebody comes up with a play called the tush push. Well, we can't run that. Yeah. Let's run counter trey. Now the whole league runs counter trey. Okay. And then that's out of style. Let's go West Coast. Everybody runs West Coast. Okay. The league's homogenized.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what it is. Because it's homogenized, so whoever's got the best players wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
And you root for a team that just doesn't have the best players.
No. They mastered the West Coast offense for many years, but they had the players to do it.
That was 37 years ago.
That was 37 years ago.
You going nowhere fast.
No. They won a Super Bowl in 31 and a half years.
My goodness.
I know. But it gets on the Cowboys, 49ers. Well, 49ers have been there. Cowboys got to get out of that first round. But that I will say. But
you guys are kind of like the Pirates.
No, one of them spends money.
Well, you can also sit there and question whether somebody has spent money like a drunken sailor.
Which they indeed did. No doubt about it. That's why the owner put the kibosh on it and said, look, we're not doing this anymore if we're not winning games.
Yeah. So let's see. Sources. Philly star Bryce Harper stood nose-to-nose with Rob Manfred during a meeting between the commissioner and the team last week, telling him to, quote, get the F out of our clubhouse. If Manfred wanted to talk about the potential implementation of a salary cap. The confrontation came in a meeting, one of 30 that Manfred conducts annually in an effort to improve his relations with the team's players.
He's got a long way to go with that.
The meeting lasted more than an hour.
Well, I guess he didn't talk about his relationship with the players in that meeting. Kind of like when they're locking out and going on strike. They met for 12 hours. The lockout wasn't discussed.
The expiration of the collective bargaining agreement between Major League Baseball and the players is December 1st, 2026. Multiple owners have stumped for a salary cap in MLB, the only major men's North American sport without one. They have vehemently opposed the cap. Now, one of the issues that on the owner's side, you've had consistently the Pirates, the Royals, the A's, and a couple of others, the Rays, that have also opposed the cap. You want to know why?
Probably because they're making a heck of a lot on revenue sharing.
Nope.
That is.
Nope. It's not the reason. Because if you have a cap, you have a floor.
You have a floor. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
And
they'd be well below that floor.
Would probably have to raise.
Good point.
To reach the floor, and they don't want to do it.
They don't want to do it.
All right. Well, once again, you're here, so I feel like we've hit the floor. Suppose you're going to be there on August 10th.
Sure.
Another bobblehead.
Try to get to as many games as I can. I've only been to 3 this year thus far.
Oh, you'll go to the Coach Katie bobblehead night?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
I mean, Do these just end up in your garage, a storage?
Not the Penn State ones. Those are usually stored. No, those. I usually sometimes
the Curtis Martin bobblehead is in a storage
no
unit?
Curtis Martin bobblehead. I might have to get one of those. Yeah. A lot of them. Some do end up in the garage, but other ones, obviously the Penn State ones, I display.
A Ray Nitschke bobblehead?
No Nitschke bobblehead. I don't have too many legend bobbleheads other than the Montana and Rice. Yeah, I did break code. I never thought I'd get an Eagles bobblehead. I got the Saquon Barkley one that they sold at the stadium last year. It's a miniature one, but Kelly green uniform. It's nice.
I'm sure it is.
It is. I haven't displayed it yet. I'm still deciding.
Do you have a bobblehead of The Rock?
No. I'm trying to think if I have any wrestlers.
Oh,
I don't.
Joe Putnam does. He has Tito Santana.
I do have Tito. That's yep, got Tito Santana
Because
last year too.
He was at Williamsport.
Yep. I do have Tito.
And Joe got to the ballpark early and spent an hour with Tito Santana.
That's awesome.
I said, my goodness. I said, you two bonded.
Yeah, that was the days of wrestling, of the childhood, without a doubt.
I think Atlas. What's Atlas's
Tony
name?
Atlas.
Tony Atlas.
Yep.
He was the Williamsport wrestler this year.
Tony Atlas.
Was he the U.S. champion or something like that?
Used to be. He was. I want to say he was a. I'm trying to think. I think he was a tag team champion too with Rocky Johnson. I was Rock's dad. Yeah. So that's. Okay. Yeah, I want to say he was. Yeah. But yeah, well, wrestling years ago. It was back when it was territorial. Well, of course, obviously the passing of Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan made it global, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Say what you want to say about him. What he did, wrestling-wise, is undeniable. Not a shadow of a doubt. But yeah, before it was territorial. WWF, I think at the time, came to the Hamburg Fieldhouse in Allentown, Reading many, many times. Tito Santana was a part of that.
I asked Tito if he remembered you. I think it's a good time to end the show.